I'm Kirsten from New Earth Dreaming. We're really excited about what's going on with the 888 Lionsgate portal. Really want to share this amazing stuff that is uncovering and becoming so simple. So enjoy. Welcome. A very special year, 2024 and 8, and then we head into another very special time, the Lionsgate, which for years has been slowly supporting with intention the ability for us to be able to activate, become more and more clear about our purpose. For many years, since I was in my early 20s, I ended up being a career coach in large organizations with individuals. And it was fascinating to move from people just going for jobs around money, status, power, all that, and stepping into meaning, purpose, vision. And then there's the big question, what is the meaning of life? So I'd like to share some powerful tools to support stepping fully into one's purpose and how and what that is, like where did it come from? Is it me? Is it fate? All those questions. So hang on for the ride. Hopefully the stories will be interesting, and then there will be some meditation techniques and some ways to really hold true to the focus for the next few days. Enjoy. So whether you're religious or not, there's that word Holy Trinity, and it had been attributed to the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. And in fact, it is creator, creation, and the energy that flows through. We are experiencing creation. We are creation. We are part of creation. We are a human in this body, and we are here on this earth, and we are having an experience as creator in creation, amongst creation. And within everything within creation is the energy that flows through all beings and moves through all. So going back to that to clarify around who is actually, driving this car, sailing this ship, we are a fractal of the Creator. And many talk about this, that we are one, we are returning, we get back to our essence, ultimately taking that honor of just being truly magnificently full of potential, and coming from that as the stance. Now, it's not as if we're conscious of this or able to do it or even remembering any of this, so it's not like all of a sudden we're just going to be walking around saying I'm God, I'm a creator, but that is the essence. So the essence knows itself at all times, so the essence isn't necessarily a separate figure, but we've created that to help us on the ladder or on the layers of the frequencies and the vibrations to be able to understand or understand something very, very hard to fathom. And the only way to fathom anything when it comes to moving beyond this creation, all these things around us, the only way to fathom anything is to feel it. And we'll get into that. So the Creator had a dream and so wished to create creation. And all of creation, number 2, has, number 3, the energy that flows through and moves through all beings. And so going back to that term of the American Indian, is the great being that flows through all things, moves through all things. So it's everything. It's the Holy Trinity. It is who we are as we become more conscious and harness and access all aspects of this. As we come into creation, we come into a hologram, a game, a place of experience and expansion to experience oneself, but also experience what's possible to create more and do more. And what is the essence of what would feel really good? What is love? What is joy? What is bliss? can one experience that. And so to enter into creation, there was the splitting of the atom, there was the light, the dark, the duality, the polarity, the masculine, the feminine. And I'm going to use the masculine and feminine to show the two parts of the yin and yang, the two different types of energy that are always complementary if we focus on it, but also can be extreme polars if we don't realize there is a synchronicity between the two. And so when we see dark and light or good and evil, we can be fighting against one. When we embrace both, we end up finding that sweet spot in the middle and return back to Creator, to Eeyore, the great being which is within ourselves. So experiencing creation has so many layers of experience. We are conscious of certain things or not. We're like not a dog, and we can't smell what they can smell. Luckily we can't. We can't see or hear as much as a cat. We can't, at the moment go under the water with the faculties that we've got at the moment as humans. So we've got certain parameters around what we think we can and can't do based on perceiving the hologram, the smoke and mirrors, that we are actually creation, energy. And energy is flowing through all to be able to bring all of this together so that we find that sweet spot in the middle, the bliss, the nirvana in our journey. By separating the three, I feel it clarifies everything to do with what science, quantum physics is saying now, and then we can sort of really get into the essence of, okay, well, why am I here? Well, we're here because we want to just come and experience, and we have that absolute freedom and choice to do that. We're not here to prove, we're not here to tick a box, we're not here to show some greater being than ourselves that we're capable and that we're worthy. That's a biggie. Worthy. Where did that come from? If we were to know and really know consciously that we are Creator, we are the creation, experiencing itself, and all around it is itself. And we are this great energy, the great spirit that flows through all things. Why would we ever feel that we're worthy or not worthy? Worthy to who? Constructs have created something where we feel separate, which is part of creation. Creation is separation, it's duality. If we get stuck in thinking that this is really real and that's all there is, then we perpetuate a loop of perceiving ourselves as only worthy within certain realms of limitation. By just stepping back and reclaiming the Holy Trinity, which is within ourselves, then we're able to start exploring more possibilities rather than limitations that we've imposed upon ourselves. It could be quite easy just to look around and then start blaming and start saying that person or those people or that government are the cause of all of this chaos. The cause of the chaos is the lack of consciousness around who we really are. And however that happened, I'm not really needing to go into that, because if we're really wanting to step fully into the Lionsgate portal of our true magnificent power of a lion, think of all the attributes of a lion. If we want to step into that, we have the lion, 1/8 on the left, which is all about the past, and 1 on the right about the future. And this is a very special year of the 888. So we've got 8/8 in August, and we've also got 2024, which is an 8. So that is us. That is reclaiming our power. Ra. And Ra is the sun. We'll get into that. So just breathe in that triangle. Use the triangle however you want. Some people are into Egyptian things, Atlantis. They like triangles. They're into maths. I'm personally more into the flowers and the circular movements and spirals and Fibonacci sequence. But anyway, the triangle is an easier way to look at it. So maybe step into that. Start feeling that. Start feeling the support that everything in creation is actually part of you, because you are Creator. And so everything in creation has the energy flowing through all things, and it all wants to create harmony. It all wants to return to oneness. And so feel that within that triangle, and do that often, and use this as one of your tools to be able to reclaim that you are worthy, and you don't even need to use that word anymore, because there is no one out there, nothing out there that you need to compare yourself to. You, we are the creator. I am that I am. Aho, tēnā, aho. That is a mu. I'll use the word mu rather than Māori, but it's a Pacific word. Aho is I am. Tēnā, that. Aho, I am that I am. Stating that without intention of seeing the triangle, seeing the Lionsgate, seeing you and me stepping fully into our power is another tool to use and say often, and feel free to use that wording. The reason why I bring up Mu and the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing today is I've really stepped into my calling. We've all got different things that we're doing and we're coming here for. We could be coming here just to be a loving smile, just to give hugs. We could be someone who could be the one that annoys the hell out of anyone who's not waking up. Like, we can be whatever we want to be, and there's no right or wrong or better or worse or higher or lower. There is just our unique choice and what we want to do while we're here. Mine is to reclaim that sense of balance with nature, to reclaim that sense of oneness with it, and to feel like I am the ocean, I am the tree. And I am very thankful, with my background of my Māori mother and all of my relatives, to be able to feel that tangata whenua. We are the people of the land. And then I spent time in the Cook Islands. I've got Tahitian friends and looked into some amazing Hawaiian things, and there's such similarities to it all. Kahuna, ours is a tohunga, which is a shaman. There's so much magic going on amongst this deep, beautiful, big ocean that's still luckily got the whale code singing through it. It just gives me goosebumps thinking about that, so that's my little calling. Some of the words I'm using from the Māori, the Mu, the Cook Islands, the Pacific, the Polynesian Triangle, such as aho, tēnā aho, I am that I am, are from the original peoples of consciousness, of the peoples of Mu. The reason this relates to looking at our purpose is that there has been a consciousness already very advanced in the beginnings of time of peoples of consciousness. And so my calling is to bring forth the ancient knowledge of the ancient cultures, which are all very like-minded throughout the globe, starting with the original landmass, which is now under the deep ocean. According to James Churchward, with several books published, ancient glyphs collected from many countries, the originals first found in India on his many travels. From spending over 6 months with a rishi in an ancient temple, deep underground, the rishi said that there were some tablets that were thousands and thousands of years old and that could not be looked at. Over time, building trust, he encouraged that they at least be looked at to make sure they were being preserved. And the two of them, with absolute astoundment, started to translate these sacred glyphs, which are now one of the many proofs of this ancient continent that we can turn to start to remind ourselves of who we really are. The first sound is ah, and the first word is aho, and the first sound is the dot, the 0 point. And aho is the dot and the circle. And we'll go into that, but that is for me the essence of who we really are. So in the middle of that triangle, start perceiving that you've got a dot in the middle, and that is the 0 point. Māori call it te kore, the void. It is this place that when we implode and we go within to find, we then bring forth unlimited possibilities, going into the nothingness and coming forth with everythingness. For we are the 0 point, we are the one. And the circle around it is like the sun that just contains our unique essence as we journey in the creation as the creator. So going back to worthy, going back to why is it that we don't feel that, and letting go of polarity, because we are oneness, and letting go of all the duality and all the blame and all the this and that and them and those, and realizing as we made a choice to come into creation, we made a choice in two ways. We made a choice to be self, serving self, having an experience by oneself. Why do we have to be accountable or do anything to anyone else? And that is a path that we get to learn a lot and expand. And as we do that, we start to notice that we're having an impact on the other selves and the other things that are in creation that are a reflection and a fractal of Creator. And we're starting to bump up against that. And we're starting to maybe notice that we're separate. And in that separateness, we don't find the essence of what we're really searching for. And we start to need to seek power and seek something outward to be able to fulfill the sense of emptiness and separation. And some of us have taken that path, and we want to take it as far as we can. And there's nothing right or wrong about that. But there is consequences of being purely focused on self, because we are having an impact on those around us. And some who have been so separate and sad and often like psychopathic, they decide that they want to get power over others by saying that you need what I've got, because then they can gain the energy. They might do it consciously or unconsciously, but ultimately, remember the third factor of creation is the energy that flows through all things. And those who are self-serving self start to seek out the energy by getting it from others and getting it from things and getting it from having another house and another car and all the things that might make them feel like they've got energy. All they're wanting is energy. And so the unconsciousness of their actions cause them to have a rippling effect around them. And then if they can con as many people who are unconscious as well to think that they have to go through this person to get what they think is their energy, well then, that's probably why we have a lot of chaos in the world. And then some of us choose to be self-serving the greater self. And it's the thing that we all love. We love to want to know that we're helping, we're kind, we're good to others. It feels good to do that. And at a lower level, it could be quite selfish to do it because it makes you feel good that people think that you're cool. But ultimately, that's the second path. There's really just two paths. It's really, really important, though, besides all of that, to remember the power really is in returning to the triangle, to the circle, and to the dot, to tena, to that, to aho tena, aho, to I am that, I am, and then implode the knowledge and the energy to be able to come forth with your own unique self and your own unique purpose. Just breathe that in. So we have the Holy Trinity, we have Aho, I am that I am, and then we have a choice of self-serving self or self-serving the greater selves. So whatever path we're on, the ultimate really, to get to the higher vibrations, the higher frequencies, the higher dimensions, people are saying, the fifth dimension, saying that we're moving from a very dense third dimension, similar to what is our basic senses. So humans can't do as much as a lot of animals actually, because we've reduced our senses. So just picture that we're heading into a time definitely happening. We all know, whoever's listening to this knows that we're heading into a higher frequency or a higher consciousness ultimately. And by doing that, the only way really to move forward is to be self-serving the greater self. So we're very, very conscious of the impact of our actions because we are one with everything around us. When I eat something, I'm really conscious of what I'm eating because, what's happening to the animal or to the plant. Is there sustainability in the land? Is there a way that this is going to be there for my ancestors, great grandchildren? I'm not here just for me. I've got my ancestors who are really watching out for all of the little mokopuna, the grandchildren. How am I helping the future generations? Coming from my Maori, my Mu background, I am very much embedded in what we call mana. Mana, your prestige, your power, comes from how you care for land and people, because you are one with it. You know, you've got the American Indians that are always talking about brother bear, brother tree, father sky. Why? Because we are all of these things, and that's the closest way of showing that we're one big family and ultimately one. So by self-serving the greater self, but making sure that we come back to our core, our essence, our aho, then we're able to do some really cool things that are having a positive rippling effect on others. And while some are self-serving self, doing their own thing, trying to gain energy from others, we don't put any energy into that because we're giving it energy, aren't we? So of course we're going to put our energy into self-serving the greater selves. Breathe that in. I'm saying this often for myself because as I listen to this regularly, it helps me confirm the path that I'm on. So if it's of benefit to anyone else, then amazing. And if it helps give a little bit of clarity amongst absolute confusion out there, so many things that you could be getting into. I mean, my God, we're opening up all dimensions. So we're opening up different planetary beings. We've got like nature's spirits, we've got ancestors, we've got past lives, we've got past gurus, we've got so much going on. What are you going to do to get your focus? What are you going to do to find what it is that your own true calling is, besides being very careful not to listen to too many things out there, and come back to the core, and from the core find what comes to you, and that will be you. That will be your oversoul giving you guidance of what you need. And if it is to talk to some Pleiadians, or to talk to some aliens, or to talk to some past people who are spirits now, or beautiful archangels, whatever it is that you're feeling like you need to do, where's it coming from? Did it come from some sense of lack that you needed something out there to fulfill? Or is it coming from really feeling yourself connected to yourself, to creator, to creation, and the spirit that moves through all beings? If you feel that, implode into that, into the void, into te kore, the nothingness. And from that nothingness, which is why people meditate, just to get to a point where you really are focused on nothing, and then see what comes up. And if it feels really good, go for it. If you're feeling a lack when you're trying to search, often you'll be giving energy out there to something or someone that really needs to suck some of your energy. So just be a bit conscious about how you're creating your power. Is it truly yours, or are you starting to give it away? And I have had friends who have been very intrigued and excited that some spirit has chosen them, and then after a couple of years they're pretty drained looking. So I've not really ever gone that way. And the reason why my calling with Moo is to return back to our essence. So self-serving self, self-serving the greater selves, coming back to the core, choosing, being careful not to just, when we're in a sense of lack, seek some energy outward, because you never know who you're going to invite to your party. In my early 20s, unique individuals showed up to attend this newly created career coaching service. And I got to really add in some unique things. Intuitively, I didn't really realize in my 20s that I really was just flying off the seat of my pants, you might say, or flying off my intuition. And it was probably from being really connected to who I was and am as Māori. So, there's some things that really help us ground ourselves into being more comfortable just to go with what you go with. And one of the great things about being really one with nature, grew up, riding horses bareback and swimming in the ocean without adults supervising us, and climbing cliffs and having a lot of fun. You respect nature, and you also flow with it. Like, how can a little girl be riding this massive horse? What is that? That's the girl and the horse as one. Ooh, it was so exhilarating. Thankfully, that was the type of childhood I had, which allowed me to be a bit more confident, or I don't even want to use that word, because what is that? Sometimes people build themselves up and it's not built on good foundations, but just a bit more of a staunchness. Actually, yeah, that's a word. That's a Māori Kiwi word, where we're quite staunch. And what is that? That's just really grounded and connected to who you are, and no one's going to stop that. So quite young, but running a training company with, I grabbed older people so I could get the wisdom. I always love being surrounded by elders and people of different ages, because for me, you grew up with all different ages. You never grew up just with older people knowing everything. You know, you were always hanging out with your cousins and everybody, so you knew that there's a lot you can learn from everyone. And so as I had these older people around me, I'm experimenting with ways that we can provide a really cool way to help a person really understand their human potential. And yeah, wow, so many amazing stories. And ultimately what I got to see very quickly was that everyone is unique. And when we try and be someone else, it just doesn't work. And I know people say that, but like, it really doesn't. And yet we're often not told, or we don't get to learn how do you actually come to who you really are. And for me, it's taken years, so much, because yeah, maybe it wasn't the right time, but ultimately we are in a much higher frequency going on at the moment. There's a lot of great information coming through. It's in our dreams, it's ourselves, it's who we are in essence. So I always like to go back to that first, and then definitely our ancestors. As Māori, we definitely feel connected with our ancestors, always looking out for us. And then it's definitely, you know, the whole universe, I reckon, at the moment is really wanting to help planet Earth help into this consciousness that will make it more harmonious, and for us to be a bit more self-responsible with the way in which we act, we live, and even our thoughts and words are spells. Like, what are we doing? And you know, most people are feeling very chaotic at the moment with their thoughts, their feelings. So coming back to the essence of who we are unique, and we aren't able to be anyone else. And so until we sort of get the little key of how to tap into things, we keep searching outward, which is a paradox. It's like the opposite to what will really help us. So I love the saying, Rumi, mystic poet, 12th century, all you need and want is within you. As I was becoming a young adult, and when I had children, I really wanted to, you know, teach them all this stuff around human potential. It was the field of work I was in. I was like, yeah, I mean, I was still a bit mucked up. I had my, what I'd call shadows that I was not aware of, because I wasn't aware of the word shadows, and which then led to understanding trauma, which again, I was resistant for another 10 years on, which has actually led to all of these keys unlocking. So highly recommend, don't go through 10 years of understanding that there are actually shadow work and shadows that we need to be aware of in ourselves, and that, you know, another 10 years of trauma work, because it doesn't have to take very long, especially some of the processes that we use. My buddies and I, we've been doing newearthdreaming.org, and we're all just collaborating together, and we're actually sharing some really cool ways to move and ascend, to move into a sense of ascension. And it really is about going into the heart, and it's very much about getting out of the head, finding the balance. In fact, it's the symbol of Aho. It's the dot in the middle, which is the heart and the solar plexus, the masculine and the feminine, and then surrounding that is us being able to contain our uniqueness. I have a couple more tools before the meditation, but I'm going to stop this now. You can go to the next part of the meditation. You can gain some more tools, and it's really up to you. Just wanting to give as much as we can before the amazing Lionsgate on 888. It continues on in its power, and seeking one's true purpose is always a good thing to do at any stage in life. So this whole thing can be used at any time to remind ourselves. Enjoy.